Hi guys, this is Scribbly again with another pen review, and today we are going to have a look at a Namisu Nova in brass. I have already reviewed two other Novas in different finishes. One was the titanium stonewashed and one was the Nova Studio, which was an ebonite pen. This here now is the brass. Now, the Nova sort of seems to be the staple of Namisu because it comes in all kinds of colored aluminium. It comes in a regular titanium, in a stonewashed titanium, in the, I believe now, discontinued or sold out ebonite, which is then called the Studio. They have it in brass, they have it in copper as well, and as said, this one here is the brass. And we look at the pen in a minute. It comes in the same minimalist black boxes than all the Namisus come in. As said, this here is the brass, sported with an EF steel nib, extra fine. You slide that out, that box, and out comes another matte black box with a silver Namisu logo, and inside you will find a suede feeling pen bed in which the pen then rests like this. I think it's very nice, minimalist packing, super effective, very much fits the overall minimalist design of those pens. Really nice. It does its job afterwards. You don't have a lot of waste. It's just a little bit of paper, not these massive huge boxes that some other pens come in. I think that's pretty cool. Does also fit the, appearance of the pen price-wise, because this pen is like 70 pounds, I believe, 69 pounds or something like that. Pretty nice pen and packaging. Let's have a look at the pen. As said, it's the Nova, so it does look like all the other Novas, and I've said that in reviews of the Namisu Novas before. They always remind me sort of these Japanese Nakaya pens. A little bit thicker here, tapering down towards that side, and then a sort of like domed cap on both sides, or domed end or finial or whatever you want to call that. It's a little bit wider and thicker here and a little bit slimmer and thinner down here. Very beautiful, of course, although it is very heavy, and I normally don't like pens that heavy, so that pen is like almost too heavy for me, to be honest with you. But of course, it looks very beautiful, this brass. Now this brass here is still slightly new, quite shiny. Be aware of the fact that over time brass will age. Just as a comparison, I do have the Traveler's fountain pen here with me, which I still have to review. That one is brass as well. I've used that a little more than this one here, and it's considerably darker. That's something that will happen to this pen right here over time as well, and the brass will then get sort of like, these brownish spots and stuff like that, like this like vintagey used patina look that so many people appreciate, and that's often the reason why people buy those brass pens. But hey, there's no problem to that, because you can just take a cloth and some brass polish and you can just like make your pen nice and shiny again. The pen does have a twist cap. It's a little bit difficult to count the turns of the cap with a cap that doesn't have a clip, but I'd say it's definitely less than one full turn, or maybe even under one turn. Cut a long story short, it's a very quick pen to uncap. There is no inner cap to it. Don't know if you can see that in that lighting here, but I never had a problem. I was just double checking if there really is no inner cap, but there really is no inner cap. It's just a brass inside. But I never had an issue with this pen drying out. Like, I've now come back from a summer vacation a couple of weeks ago. So the pen has been down for 3 weeks inked while I was away. I picked the pen up in the morning and it just wrote. You can post the cap because the brass is kind of sticky, so it will allow the cap to post, even though the pen is technically not meant to be posted. It makes the brass even heavier, of course, than unposted. So I already find it almost too heavy to to write with like this and then post it. It becomes even heavier. If you like super heavy pens, you can write the pen like this. Of course, it does not throw off the balance of the pen. The pen still feels kind of balanced. However, it does really get heavy here at that web of your hand. Right there. Otherwise, a pretty comfortably sized pen, I gotta say. Perfect writing size, great balance. Apart from the heft that that pen has to it, no issue at all. A really nice section, and you do already see a little bit that is now not like, you know, sweaty fingers or something like that. That's patina that the pen of course starts picking up right here, because that's where I grab it. That's where like the salt and sweat of my hands go to. So of course it's already slightly darker than there. Then out here where I tend to hold the pen, of course, less frequently. It's a very nice girthy pen, so for those of you who like beefier, chunkier pens, this one here is really about right. Very, very comfortable to hold. The brass gives it a nice texture, so it's not as slippery as like, you know, a Lamy Studio Chrome section or something like that. Very comfortable to hold actually. The pen then here sports a number 6 bock nib, which looks really nice in my opinion. Very beautiful nib. It's an extra fine nib, and since it's a number 6 nib, you could just hold it and screw it out and replace it, feet down here, with any other number 6 nib that you may have laying around. A Jowo nib, a titanium nib, a gold nib, whatsoever. This here is a steel nib. We can unscrew the pen like this. Sits a little bit tight right here. I need to use my t-shirt to hold it. Yes, that works. Then we find a standard international Schmidt converter. Comes with the pen, which I find pretty nice. As said, takes standard international cartridges. By the way, this small laser etched N here that stands for Namisu is the only type of branding that you will find on the entire pen. Very nice, fits the minimalist appearance of that pen very much as well. And I have the pen inked up with Diamine Syrah, a nice wine red, which I find fits very well with the pen. Size comparison to my standard size reference pen, a Lamy Safari. And I would say that it's fair to say that these pens are about the same in length. Capped, let's uncap them. I will not post them because neither does it make sense to post the Lamy Safari, nor should the Namisu Nova be written posted. At least it's not meant to be posted. Excuse me. And I think you see that they're again about the same size. However, as said, the section is chunkier, beefier, girthier. Before we end that review, we hop into a writing sample, and I'm glad to say that this number 6 bock nib is a pleasure to write with. Has not even really dried in the course of the review, and the pen has been inked up for quite a bit now. And we write here with the Namisu Nova in brass, having an extra fine nib, and it's inked with Diamine Syrah. Now Diamine Syrah is a little bit of a dry ink. This here is regular spiral bound notebook. You see it does then show us like, now the camera has difficulties in focusing, now you see it, show us that it's like sort of like a medium wet writer. It's definitely not the gusher, but it's also not on the dry side. This bock nib here has just a wee bit of feedback, but it's definitely on the very smooth side of things. It's a very, very pleasant writer. It is definitely an extra fine nib. I do believe that I have this Traveler's pen inked up here as well. I think it has KWZ orange, and this here is a fine nib. And you see that that fine nib of that Traveler's pen is definitely wider than the extra fine bock nib of this Namisu pen. So I believe it's fair to say that this is a very true to the size extra fine nib. It's about a Japanese fine. It's a good Western extra fine. Well, that was that with the review of this Namisu fountain pen, the Namisu Nova Brass. As said, I find it's a really beautiful pen at a great price. For me personally, it's a bit on the too heavy side to be comfortable to write with, especially for longer writing sessions. But if you do prefer a heavier pen, then this might just be the pen for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll glad you see you at the next review. Bye bye.